live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Great to be with you on a Friday night here in Salt Lake City. I'm Brian Schnee. This is 2 News Live. We are indeed live at the place to be on a Friday night here with the person who knows all Olympics. I've been saying that for years, though, too. Fraser Bullock with the Salt Lake City, Utah committee, of course, but the president and the CEO of this. And I'd like to think a lot of the brains behind the operation, but there are so many people that are involved here. You put pen to paper today. What was that about?
Well, what we did was we formally accepted the invitation from the IOC to enter targeted dialogue. Okay. So here we go. Targeted dialogue in a quick 10-second response is what? It just means they've identified us as the host for 2034. Now we just have to complete all the paperwork to get to an award in July. How does it feel to be identified? It's fantastic. Years of work, and here we are. All our work has paid off, and I feel so great for the citizens of Utah to bring the games back again. And you added another member of your committee, if I understand, upstairs just a few minutes ago. Is that right? Another member of our committee. Shaun White. Shaun White. Yes, we did. Shaun White, who is the legend in the world, so cool, in snowboarding. He is now a member of our committee. How does that happen? Well, he has a passion for winter sport. He has a passion for this country. He has a passion for the kids. He wanted to be part of it. Just quickly, what are we expecting here tonight? I know that the chairs are laid out. The last time I was here, we lit the cauldron. It was great, but who is here tonight? Who will be hearing from, and what's the goal this evening? Well, the goal this evening is to celebrate our invitation into targeted dialogue. The governor will be speaking, I'll be speaking, the mayor, the USOPC, CAT, and then we have athletes who have medaled in every game since '02, and then aspiring athletes all the way to 34. You got to be excited. We're so excited. It's a dream come true. All the pieces came in place, and we got exactly what we hoped for. As always, nice to talk to you, especially about something as exciting as this. We're keeping every finger crossed. Nothing will go awry, and everything is in line, right? We're absolutely. We are ready. All right. You know what else has changed today? Obviously, the vibes are high here Friday night. The air quality has really changed. We can breathe well tonight. The inversion is gone. Let's send things inside. Chase Thomason. Chase, the storm is making its way, right?
Yeah, we have several waves, and that first wave moved in right around the lunch hour, Brian. And as you mentioned, the inversion, it's out of here. So we have good, clean air this evening, which is great. And right now, we're kind of seeing a little bit of a break from the activity, but we expect more snow here in just a few more hours. You can see as we roll through the next couple hours, we're going to see that cloud cover move back in, so enjoy the break. If you add it up, though, since yesterday afternoon, we haven't had a ton. This is just the beginning, but already 10 inches at Bryan Head, Eagle Point 9, Alta 8. The bulk of the snow coming this weekend will be over northern Utah, so you could probably add a couple more feet to these totals as we head into Saturday and Sunday, which is great, but generally around 4 to 8 inches at our resort, so there will be some fresh powder by tomorrow morning. Winter weather advisories are out for the valleys for some accumulation. Most of our valley snow will happen tonight because eventually some milder air moves in, and that snow might change to rain, especially by Sunday. Winter storm warnings, though, are out for the mountains of northern Utah and the mountain valleys. So here comes our next wave that moves in shortly for tonight, and then there's another storm behind it that moves in Saturday afternoon, could linger all the way through Sunday night, and that one has that milder air. So it's all snow tonight, moving in after 8 o'clock from Logan all the way down into southern Utah County. Mountain snow will continue. I-70 south, it's quiet. Now, as we head into the overnight hours, we'll have some lingering snow showers, maybe a few flurries early tomorrow morning, and then a break, and then it fills back in Saturday afternoon and evening. But notice we're starting to see a little bit of green, so a rain-snow mix is possible. Snow levels could climb to about 5,000 feet Saturday night and into Sunday morning, but we could have some snow at times, especially in those heavier bands. It's all snow, though, in the mountains. Now, by Sunday afternoon, those snow levels are pretty high at 6,000 feet, so it's all valley rain and mountain snow, especially north of Utah County, and then it will wind down by Monday morning. So here's how much snow you can expect in the mountains, 1 to 3 feet, but I think locally higher totals can't be ruled out by Monday morning. Wasatch Back, Park City, Heber, Ogden Valley, 8 to 18 inches where it's all going to be snow. Now we're going to see a little bit of rain on Sunday, maybe a 1/4 inch to 3/4 of an inch, but before that we'll have a little bit of snow in Cache, Bear Lake and Bear River Valleys, 4 to 8. Northern end of the Wasatch Front, 3 to 7. Salt Lake, Utah and Tooele County, 1 to 4. And 0 to 2 in the valleys of eastern and central Utah. You kind of get shadowed a bit out in the basin, and central Utah might see another dusting to an inch or two later tonight, but most of it confined to northern Utah. St. George, partly cloudy skies, mid-50s through Sunday, upper 50s Monday. Looking next week, we are in the 60s with lots of sunshine. Salt Lake, 29 for tonight, so anything that falls might stick to the road, so look out for a couple slick spots. And then we'll see rain and snow showers for your Saturday, 42. All rain on Sunday, 45. Drying out, though, upper 40s Monday and Tuesday. How about 50 on Wednesday? And then we're watching for maybe our next storm system that could be rolling in about a week, late Friday and into Saturday, Brian.
All right, Chase, thank you very much. Nice to be outside with you. Of course, it's chilly, but feeling in the air that the snow is moving in. We like it. People out here tonight, they're getting ready for the ceremony. Starts at 6 o'clock. They're going to light the cauldron tonight at 6:30. The hype is here. 2034, not exactly near, but the conversations are there. And the pen to paper took place today. You heard from Fraser Bullock a few minutes ago. They signed it. They're going to send it to the IOC. They say, hey, we accept that preferred host invitation, and we will move forward from here. So the state of Utah is expensive. We're going to continue to go in depth on the Olympics here. Millions more people living here in Utah than 2002, roughly a million more, I should say. And it faces challenges over that big growth. A critic of the Olympics then says bringing the games back is like pouring gas on the fire. Maybe not a popular opinion. Brian Malahy has more tonight. Brian, I'd say after the information was released from the committee, there was like 80% favorability for the games. This individual sounds like he's not in favor.
Well, there's been a lot of rah-rah, of course. He says it's like pouring a little bit of gas on the fire. You know, incrementally is how he put it today. His name is Dec.1. He was with a group called Utahns for Responsible Public Spending more than 20 years ago, before the 2002 games. And he and another guy named Steve Pace were sort of the voice of opposition, if you will. And they said, look, you know, this is going to cost us a lot of money. Dec.1 says it did cost a lot of money. Even though the games finished in the black, he says that the federal government, taxpayers, paid hundreds of millions of dollars to Utah. And that doesn't include light rail that's going on behind me. It doesn't include the big I-15 renovation and rebuild. That was a huge project. And so he says, look, that was one issue. Another issue is the growth that has happened in Utah since the Olympics in 2002. And we have all kinds of challenges, and we've reported on them a lot. You know, transportation issues, pollution, congestion, high housing prices, saving the Great Salt Lake, the drought that, you know, the last winter, you know, put a dent in the drought, but I think some people would still argue it's not over. And he says this is gonna, you know, this can't help. And he still says that this is an issue that you know, these things ought to be talked about. His advice, if he had 5 minutes with Governor Cox, would be proceed with caution.
Hey, look what I just got here. This is great. Just handed to me now. Thank you, Brian. We're going to continue to go in depth here on the Olympics, of course. Another looming question. People are talking about our venues. Olympic officials said our success hosting in 2002, our continued use of these venues, is exactly why we are a great place to host future games here. Jake Taylor joining us live in studio, probably a little bit warmer than I am tonight. But Jake, how are our venues looking now, 2023, compared to 2002, and then looking ahead to 2034?
Yeah, they're looking pretty good, and I think some of this is almost a response, some might say, to some of the concerns that Brian was able to speak to, that people have brought up. The idea that all of the money that was spent for the 2002 games has kind of set Salt Lake and Utah up to be able to handle games in the future pretty well without as much cost, without as much worry and concern. Now, a number of those venues have already, of course, been built. You've got the Olympic Oval, you've got the Olympic Park in Park City, and you've got the Soldier Hollow Nordic Center out near Midway. A lot of money put into those, and all three of those locations are in pretty good shape. All of them used for training or for world-class events as well. And that isn't necessarily a given. There have been host cities for the Olympics in the relatively recent past that have had some of those venues purpose-built for the games. go into disrepair. Rio de Janeiro, for example, somewhat recently, they had some of what they built basically be abandoned in recent years, which certainly hasn't happened here. And of course, it's not just the venues themselves that money was put into that we still have the lasting results of. There is infrastructure that has been built here. Tracks pretty much didn't exist before the 2002 Olympics. It wasn't until Salt Lake was announced as the home of the 2002 Olympics that the federal government gave any money towards building the plans for tracks lines, for light rail. It may not exist at all if it wasn't for those games. And I-15, in the lead up to the 2002 games, about $1.7 billion was poured into I-15, went from about 6 lanes to the Salt Lake Valley to 12 lanes. They rebuilt 130 bridges. A lot of that money spent. Some of course, still we're seeing the results of that. And I imagine a lot more money and maybe some major projects are still to come to the lead up to the next games.
Jake, you're right. As we stand outside of Rice-Eccles Stadium, one of the many venues that is in more than great shape as we move forward, as the Utes continue to play football here and those big country stars like to play here, how about another opening games, right? Maybe down the line here in about a decade or so. Let's continue to go in depth on the Olympics. Earlier this week, I spoke with an Olympian, silver medalist from Beijing. He lives in Park City. He's a freestyle skier, and he rips it up. And he's going for gold the next time around. That's his goal. Here's a little bit more from Colby Stevenson.
I don't really hear much about another games because, in the last few years, we weren't sure if it was going to happen here. So I'm sure now that it's like being, announced or we're getting the vote for it. I bet there's going to be a lot more talk about, this place. And, I think it's hard for some people to look that far ahead, but, for the true Olympic lovers, they'll be excited to come and hear about it. Have them return, I feel like, is just amazing. It makes sense. We have all the facilities and, a lot of the talent here. Having the U.S. team based here, I think it's just a perfect fit. And, to think that I'll be 36, which is probably a little old for my events. Bums me out a little bit. I mean, it's not saying it isn't possible. It's just, based off the history of our sport and its progression, I might not be able to be in it, but that doesn't mean I don't want to be involved,
Great to hear from Colby. Obviously, next year he wants to finish in the top 2 in his standings, so he kind of gets that auto qualifier and doesn't have to push as hard. But when we spoke the other day, he was in Park City at the training facility, getting ready to get a lift in. Hey, let's take a look at our tag board poll today. What would be the most exciting part of Salt Lake hosting the games in 2034? Scan the QR code on your screen right now to weigh in. More than 30% of you saying it's a nice boost to our local economy. 29% saying volunteer opportunities are always great. And you know what? It's always good to put Utah on the international stage, according to nearly a quarter of you weighing in on the poll. Happening tonight, a special edition of 2 News at 6, dedicating the full half hour to Olympic coverage. We'll still be live out here at Rice-Eccles Stadium as the Olympic cauldron is lit. It's going to be lit up around 6:30 tonight. Plus, we'll be speaking with Olympic athletes, taking a look at how prepped the state is to host the games. That's right here tonight on 2 News at 6 after we wrap up here on 2 News Live. So here we are outside of Rice-Eccles Stadium. Let's take a look at the crowd as they funnel in. Some Olympians are here, some families are here, some former volunteers are here, some dedicated individuals just excited about the games coming back to Salt Lake City. We hope, as we heard from Frazier, they signed the paperwork today to announce their intent. We'll leave you with this. Tonight at 6:30, the Olympic cauldron will be lit. It'll be lit tonight only. So if you're out there and you want to check it out, come on down here to Rice-Eccles Stadium tonight to see the cauldron lit. Thanks for watching 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. We'll be back with you on Monday. Join us tonight for our half-hour special coming up in a few minutes on 2 News at 6. his folks